Are we ready? A couple years ago, I first got this car. I pulled up right there, mounted some cameras, asked if we're ready, and off we went. So this is a drive in my Viper for 2026. This is not the first time I've had it out this year, but it is one of the first. But I had it out a couple times earlier this year as soon as the roads are clean and dry, and didn't really get out very long. But now I'm going to take a quick drive out in the country. So I thought I'd bring you guys along with the cameras and whatnot. So we'll do that, and we'll see how much cool stuff we can see out in the countryside. Now the snow is all melted. It's about 65 degrees today. Great day for a mountain bike ride. And I thought to myself, you know, there's still some daylight left. Let's go for a ride in the Viper. So if you've been following my channel for a while, you know that I bought this Viper in 2020 from the original owner. It had 4,000 miles on it, and it's a 1999. So he put about 250 miles a year on it the entire time he owned it. Took exceptional care of it. And also a logbook where he logged everything, including when he put gas in it and how much. All the maintenance, oil changes, all that stuff, crazy. So I have now put over 6,000 miles on it since I got it. And didn't put a lot of mileage on it last year because I just got my Cobra and I was, having fun with that. But hope to get out in, equal time this year. But it's got 10,900 miles the odometer. So I'm sure I'll roll it over to 11 or 12 this year. And then last fall, I brought it by Mark Lieberman's Nostalgic Motoring and had him go through it front to back. Among other things, the battery had gone bad on it. And in this vehicle, the battery is hidden behind a door inside the rear wheel well on the driver's side of the car, primarily to put weight back there. And so that had to be done, but also oil change, tune up, all that kind of stuff. It is running very nicely. I'm hoping the sound is good. I'm using a different camera today. Down in the seat here, I've got another microphone which I was going to experiment with, and I decided not to. I think this microphone will work. I hope it will. Otherwise, I'll have to narrate the video, and I hate that. And I don't know why. The second I start filming, people start blowing up my phone. Somehow they know. But one of the things I have to get used to is that I was driving my Jeep recently, and that's a manual transmission. This is a manual transmission, but this is a 6-speed. The Jeep is a 5. I gotta keep telling myself I got one more gear. But also in the Jeep, you gotta be a little bit more careful what gear you're in because it doesn't have a lot of power. This thing, it doesn't really matter what gear you're in. The engine can push it, but you still want to be using the appropriate gears at the appropriate times. But it's just a joy to drive. So, in case you're curious, like right now we're in 5th gear, 50 miles an hour, and we're barely turning 1,500 RPM. So, famously, the Viper will do 60 in 1st gear. Not that I'd recommend it, but you can actually do that without redlining it. And it just has a ton of horsepower and a ton of torque, but it's also just a really fun car to drive. So, and I noticed that Mark's guys, when they had my car in their shop, cleaned and polished it a little bit, which is nice of them. So, it feels like a new car. So, and you probably heard me mention Mark before, Mark Lieberman and Nostalgic Motoring. He found this Viper for me because during COVID, I was talking to him and I said, one of these days I really want to buy a Viper, but I just haven't found one. And he said, what are you looking for? Tell me. And I told him, and he found me one literally that same day. And it was actually better than I expected in terms of both price and condition, because I wanted to get this year, or this style Viper. This is a 2nd generation Viper. The 1st generation were all open tops, and this, of course, the coupe. So, but I wanted a red one, and preferably no stripe, and that's what I got. So, happy about that. But he's also the guy who found me my Cobra, and he didn't find that for me so much as he ordered it for me, because he is a licensed Cobra dealer. So I got to actually order that, and I got to specify everything down to not only the drivetrain, but even the stitching color, the color of the stitching in the seats. So that was nice. Which is the kind of stuff I've never ordered on a car before. Don't get me wrong, I've actually, oh, hang on, I'm doing 51? What am I, some kind of maniac? My dad used to order cars all the time. He'd go into a dealership and, you know, literally sit down with the salesman and say, okay, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. And I know that later on, I think he cut back a little bit on that, because nowadays you can pretty much say, here's what I'm looking for, and they can find it for you. But I know that he took great joy in custom ordering his cars back in that time frame. And so I always kind of wondered about that. And then, of course, when I had the opportunity to do it myself, I thought, hey, I kind of get this now. I mean, someone gets to pick all the proper colors and so on. Why not let it be me, you know? So now I did just notice my clock is off. I'm not going to attempt to fix that while I'm driving, because what happens is the clock is off twice a year because of daylight savings time. And every single time I got to sit there and go, okay, how do I do this one now? I finally got my microwave figured out, so there's that. But it's a Dollar General right there. I know where there's one about 5 miles the other direction. And the company across the street from it put up a sign that says last Dollar General for 1 mile. So they're everywhere. But yeah, running rather nice. Longest drive I've taken this on, I took it up to Copper Harbor, which is at the very, very top of the Keweenaw Peninsula, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. I did that the summer I got it. I really wanted to take it on a long drive, and I saw that I was going to have a couple nice days without much risk of bad weather. So I drove it up to Copper Harbor, drove down, spent the night in Hancock, and then drove it home the next day. And then I also took it up to the Tunnel of Trees up near Charlevoix and Harbor Springs in that area. And I filmed going through there with cameras all over my car. Problem was, of course, that the trees had not quite changed color yet. So I didn't quite catch the peak of the color change. Kind of bummed me out, but still a pleasant drive. And it's kind of funny, there's a guy named Kevin, who's a friend of mine through Facebook and YouTube, who tips me off to a lot of car-related events in southeastern Michigan. And he posted something about the Tunnel of Trees the following week on Facebook. And I sent him a note and I said, were you up there on, and I named the date, and he goes, yeah. I go, were you driving a black car? And he goes, yeah. And I go, you were in front of me. And he goes, oh my God, that was you in the Viper, I saw you. But we never got near each other because I was trying to go through the trees in a more entertaining fashion. And so when I got too close to a car, I would drop way, way back and then try to, you know, pick it up a little bit on the way back in. And so never quite got up to him. At that point in time, I had no idea what kind of car he drove, and never would have guessed that he'd be up there at the exact same time I was. So it's a really cool restaurant at the north end of that trip. I went up that parking lot, turned around, moved my cameras around, and took it on back. But it's kind of funny. I was doing a lot of research on these before I bought one, and I found some videos on YouTube. For instance, there's a guy who put up a video, everything I hate about my Viper, and it's all stuff that you would know if you just did a little bit of research. But I actually got some comments from people when I said I'm going to buy a Viper. I just mentioned it in the video. And I had one guy almost get angry, which I didn't quite understand the anger, but he goes, don't buy a Viper, you're going to hate it. And I go, why is that? And he goes, they make a horrible daily driver. And I said, well, my intention is not to use it as a daily driver. And he goes, you're still going to hate it. And I go, why? And he couldn't give me a good reason why. other than they make horrible daily drivers. And I would never attempt to make this a daily driver. Although, quite frankly, if you said, Steve, you have to, could you? I mean, I suppose I could. It's a question of whether I'd want to. But I'm not sure why somebody would get offended by somebody else's car choice. I should probably tell you the other funny story about the Viper. And that is that I put up a video driving my Viper the first summer I got it. And I got a note from a guy who goes, hey, your Viper's a piece of junk. And I think I ignored it, or I might have responded kind of like, why would it matter to you, or something like that. And he said, anyways, but he did write me a second time, and he goes, because it's slow. Your Viper is slow. Now, I mean, speed is relative by definition. And I said, slow compared to what? And he goes, an Acura NSX is faster than your Viper. They're very specifically naming a particular car, which I'll admit I do not own an Acura NSX, nor have I ever driven one. So I wrote the guy back and I go, what makes you think it's faster? And he goes, do you want to bet? Do you want to bet? So I said, what are you proposing, that we race? I go, because it depends on where you live and where, do you want to actually bring your car over here and race me? And he goes, well, I haven't got one. And I go, wait, what? And he goes, I don't have an Acura NSX. And I said, well, how are you proposing a race between me in my Viper and you in an NSX? And he goes, oh, I wouldn't be driving the NSX. I don't have one. And I go, well, wait, how do you know they're so fast then? And he goes, I just know they are. I go, so let me get this straight. You're proposing a race between me and someone you don't know, because he didn't know anybody who had an NSX. And you want to bet money on somebody else you don't know beating me in a race in my car. And he goes, yes. And I go, I'm sorry, did I already ask this? Have you ever driven one? And he goes, no, I read a magazine article that said that the NSX is faster than a Viper. And I said, no, it's okay. He said, well, that just means you're chicken then. And I go, wait. You haven't got one. You don't know anybody who's got one. You've never driven one. And I'm a chicken because I don't want to race your imaginary car that you don't own? Like, I don't even get that. Like, what do you... And he finally said, he goes, you need to post a challenge and put up a video that says, my Viper is faster than an NSX, and I'll bet $10,000 that's true. I go, so you want me to bet my own money on a race that you're not even involved in? He goes, well, it's my idea. Yeah, it was your idea. It was your stupid idea. But anyway, the NSX Viper race never took place. And I highly doubt that it ever will. Because, for one thing, street racing is illegal. And I'm not really sure where you'd go to do it. I guess you could go to a drag strip or something, but that's just absurd. And it's just funny because, I mean, for all I know, it's a 12-year-old boy sitting in his parents' basement in his underwear. Or a child of any sort in their parents' basement challenging me to a race, and they want me to put up $10,000 on it. It's like, your stupid idea. You put $10,000. Anyways, and the other weird thing is, this is just true of almost anything. If you mention something like a Viper or something like that on YouTube or on the internet, you get all kinds of people, and don't get me wrong, I'm not making fun of people for asking. but I am kind of perplexed at how common this is. So I'll mention that I've got a Viper, and someone will go, oh, I've heard, and then fill in the blank. And among the things I've heard, besides the fact that they make bad daily drivers and are no good for racing NSXs, I've had several people tell me that they're known to have weak engines. Weak engines. And I'm like, who said that? I saw it on the internet. Now, the internet's a big place. And that's like saying, well, I heard something. Where did you hear it? Did you hear it in a bathroom stall at a sports arena? Or did you hear it from an expert who knew what they're talking about? I mean, there's a whole array of things that you can hear, and the fact that you saw something on the internet. And the crazy part is, before you go, but Steve, come on, you can't just discount it when somebody says, I heard it on the internet. Have you been to Reddit? Go to Reddit and just poke around in there for a little while, and you will discover that it doesn't matter the topic. You can be discussing anything. And by the way, this happens on other websites too, but I think you can find the variety of comments faster on Reddit than any place else. But you go to Reddit and find a discussion of something rational, and then just read all the comments underneath it. And I have seen stuff where somebody posts what I believe to be good advice, and within 3 comments, someone's going, this person doesn't know what they're talking about. And then someone else goes, you don't know what you're talking about. And then it degenerates into almost a fist fight. And somebody declares that somebody else is like Hitler. So, and I've told people this before, I've never posted anything on Reddit. But occasionally I go onto Reddit and read things. And there's actually I don't know what you call them, a page or a discussion board or a conversation or whatever on Reddit, where people discuss YouTube, who are creators, people who make videos for YouTube, discuss making videos for YouTube. And I'll see people in there giving the worst advice. And then somebody else will chime in and go, that's the worst advice I've ever heard. Someone else will go, you don't know what you're talking about. And before you know it, again, total degeneration. And I feel sorry for anybody who goes to Reddit looking for advice, because you can find advice that runs the full gamut from the best advice in the world to the worst imaginable advice of all time. So, quiet little town, gotta like that. I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but back in about 1996 or 97, when the second generation of Viper first came out, my brother and I published a magazine, and my brother talked Chrysler into lending us a Viper, a press car. Identical to this one, except it was blue with a white stripe, but everything else is the same. I have flashbacks to that, and not bad flashbacks, good ones, because my brother and I had such a blast with that car, and we took that car up north to Copper Harbor and the Keweenaw Peninsula for a couple of reasons, one of which was it's a nice drive, but also because there was a photographer there named Steve Brim. He's still there, and he makes really nice photographs, and he specializes in nature photographs in and around the Copper Country. And we called him and said, hey, look, we've got this car for a week. We bring it up there, can you shoot some photographs? He said, yeah, sure, absolutely. And he shot a bunch of photographs of the car for us, and we put one on the cover of the magazine, and I wrote an article about it for the magazine. And I remember I've done a lot of road trips with my brother. In fact, this is the same brother I drove cross country with, where we drove from Detroit to Los Angeles for me to go to law school. And we did a cross-country road trip there. And that's one of those trips that I'll always remember. But likewise, the trip in the Viper is right up there also. And we had so much fun with that. It was unbelievable. And in fact, to drive up there, my brother worked late on Friday, but then when he got off on Friday, he was done for the weekend. And so he came by my house, I'm guessing around 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And we just jumped in the Viper and just headed north. And we drove all night. And I remember sunrise someplace up north. And we're zooming along some stretch of road. And the sun was coming up behind us. And I remember getting out of the car, out in the middle of nowhere, probably no humans for 20 miles around, and we got this Viper taking pictures of it by the side of the road. It was pretty cool. And then we made it to the Copper Harbor area, and Steve Brim shot a picture of the car the morning that we did all the photography. And we met him at a restaurant called The Pines that is still there. And he took a picture of that Viper in front of The Pines. And we put it in the magazine, I think, but he gave a copy of that photograph to The Pines, and it's been on their wall ever since. And every time I go in there, I see it. And a couple summers ago, I was up there and I said, "Hey, Steve, do you have any more copies of that photograph?" And he goes, "I can't find the originals." Why? I said, "Well, I'd like to have a print of that for my living room wall." And he actually went over to The Pines, asked me to borrow the picture off their wall, took the picture out of the frame, scanned it, and then made me a big print for my living room wall. When I'm in my house watching TV, if I turn my head just a few degrees to the left, there's a picture of that Viper GTS in front of The Pines. And like I said, that's pretty much what inspired me to really look into these cars later. And back then, I'd been an attorney for a good 5 years. I wasn't in a position yet to be buying a extra car, but I knew years later if I ever did, there's a good chance it'd be a Viper, so that explains it. I'm about to wrap this trip up, but I decided that what I'm going to do, I've had many people ask me about a walk around of this car, and I did one a long time ago. I'm not sure that video is still up, or if it is where it is, I don't even know anymore. Oh, I could have gone. I keep forgetting, see, if it was in my Jeep, I couldn't have gone. This thing, I could have gone. Okay. That's always fun. I hope these people don't mind me jumping out for a quick walk around. And that's going to wrap up today. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.